So Avowed is a brand new RPG by a very esteemed game development company in Obsidian. If you don't know who Obsidian Entertainment is, then there's big chance that you've still heard of games that they have released in the past. Some of them being most famously Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic 2, not the first one, because the first one was made by BioWare. But the second game, The Sith Lords, was actually developed by Obsidian Games. South Park: The Stick of Truth, Fallout New Vegas, and then also The Outer Worlds as well, being most recently. Those were all developed by Obsidian Entertainment. Very esteemed games, especially for me. I would say that, like, I'm a massive Star Wars fan. KOTOR, I still love the first game a lot more than I do the second game, but the second game still holds up extremely well. I mean, to me, to beat the first game is like almost mission impossible, but the fact that they still lived up to somewhat of the hype and the expectations that came from the first game is definitely not easy to do. Stick of Truth, amazing game. Fallout New Vegas, a lot of people argue that Fallout New Vegas is actually better than what Bethesda Studios has ever developed in terms of 3 and 4. And you know what? I have played Fallout New Vegas. I personally like 3 a little bit more, but Fallout New Vegas, I still rather enjoyed as well. And their most recent game being Avowed, it was definitely met with a lot of expectations, as it is coming from Obsidian Entertainment, who, like I said, have had like a lot of big games in the past, but it is also met with a decent amount of controversy up to its release, in it mainly coming from the game director Matt Hansen, where he said stuff along the lines of, with this article coming out like a few months back, saying Avowed art director Matt Hansen admits to wanting to make Elon Musk mad and his game is ultra woke, which really, like, it's not a great way to go about the way that your game is going. Like, if you want to have political opinions, I think that's absolutely fine. I mean, the world is all about free speech, but when it comes to putting your political opinions and ideologies in video games, always keep it out of that. Always just go to make the best game possible. And Avowed has now been released, and seemingly it has gotten some decent amount of reviews. But if you look at the numbers on Steam, it has not been doing well in terms of player base whatsoever. But one thing that I think that the game has been lacking in, and the thing that I have seen the most when it comes to Avowed, has been the attention to detail, especially when compared to older games. And this is what disappoints me a lot in modern day RPGs, because especially when it comes to RPGs, those are meant to be all about immersion. You're meant to be able to kind of almost do what you want. It's about role playing. And when I saw these videos by this person right here named Tarek JK, they released 2 videos comparing Avowed to both Oblivion, which is a 19-year-old game, and then Skyrim, which is what that came out in, I think it was 2011, I think Skyrim came out. So that's like 14 years old as well, which is absolutely ridiculous. And you look at a game from Oblivion and Skyrim that came out so long ago to Avowed that just recently got released, and the attention to detail is absolutely ridiculous. And we're going to have a look at some of the highlights of this videos, and mainly the ones that really kind of annoy me the most. And I feel like this is a big topic to talk about, because yes, as much as some people will say that, oh, stuff like this doesn't necessarily matter, it does and it doesn't. Because to me, whenever there is this attention to detail in certain games, then you can tell that the developers themselves, they had a love for the game. It's definitely more of the passion that they're putting into the game, because they're concentrating on these small details of the game. So if they're wanting to make an RPG as immersive as possible, then you know that the game itself is going to be good, because then that goes into, wow, if they're having so much passion when it comes to these little details in the game, you know, and this is in terms of details of when it comes to like, oh, I want to make sure that every speck of grass is like, you know, detailed to when it comes to texture. No, detail in graphics to me doesn't really matter. Graphics to me isn't, but when it comes to mechanics of a game, attention to detail in the gameplay and the mechanics of the way a game works is what matters the most, because it shows how much passion developers have in a game. And to me, it just proves that, yeah, Avowed might be a decent game in terms of gameplay, but it's almost like we're going backwards in terms of like when it comes to this attention to detail in RPGs. So this first one that I want to have a look at is prop physics. And when it comes to prop physics in Oblivion, as you can see from this video, you're able to, everything in the game is interactable. Every single thing. And this goes for Skyrim as well. I mean, it's an RPG, like I said, is that it's meant to be immersive. You're meant to be able to do whatever you want. Like, if I go into an RPG, I wouldn't be able to do stuff like this. But then you look at Avowed, and it's almost like everything in this game, when it comes to interacting with it, is scripted almost. And it's not just props that are scripted as well. It's also when it comes to interacting with NPCs in the game as well. In Oblivion, you can basically be hostile with anyone that you want. And if you're hostile with people in cities, the guards react to that as well. So if you go ahead and like NPCs either are hostile towards you or you're hostile towards them, guards will start fighting them. Guards will start fighting you because it's an immersive RPG. But then, like, look at this. You can see that the guard himself, and he's obviously a guard of a city. I'm not that familiar with Oblivion. I more played Skyrim, so when it comes to the names of the cities, I'm not 100% certain. But when it comes to, like, you know, it's the same with Skyrim, is that, you know, and these guards, they're meant to be guards of cities. So, of course, they're going to, you know, be formidable foes. But you look at something like Avowed, where this is scripted too, because any fight within a city within NPCs, this guard is just, he's standing there watching. And you can't even interact with him. You can't hit him. How is this meant to be a role-playing game? Like, look, this is more interactions between you and NPCs within the game. And just remember, this game is 19 years old as well.
You violated the law.
So you attack a citizen, guards are going to obviously come up to you and they're going to say, like, you know, you can't go ahead and do this. In Avowed, you're shooting at, nothing is happening. Majority of these NPCs are not even NPCs. They're not even non-playable characters. If anything, they're just like almost statues. Also this one as well. And this one irks me, and I'm going to get into it more because Obsidian used to do stuff like this in the past, is accessible buildings. In Oblivion and Skyrim, you can go into any building that you want. You can access any building, everything, because it's like I said, it's a role-playing game. It's an open world. You should be able to go ahead and do whatever you want. In Avowed, no. It's completely scripted. Everything is scripted. Everything is just extremely linear in a role-playing game. And obviously, we also go into Skyrim as well, because Skyrim's attention to detail for a game that came out in 2011, all it did was that it just took everything that Oblivion did and it just basically updated it and added dragons into the games. And this is one thing as well that really irks me, is that crowds and extras. So in Skyrim, all NPCs, they're talking, they interact with each other, they actually have like schedules. In Avowed, look at this. They're moving their arms like they're meant to be talking. No speech. In Skyrim and Oblivion, NPCs actually have like a schedule built into their code where they actually have like almost like a daily life. And they go about things and they do things. Look at this. This person right here is working. You walk past them, they interact with you. This person doesn't even know you're standing there. NPC schedules as well. Look at this. They go about their daily life. Like they're actually doing something. They have actual chores. The attention to detail in this is impeccable. But then, you know, we go to Avowed and they're just standing around the whole entire time. And they're still standing around day and night. The one thing that really pisses me off with stuff like this, because like I said, when it comes to attention to detail and graphics, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to attention to detail, especially in RPGs like Avowed is meant to be, stuff like this does matter. Immersion is what matters. And the thing about this is the fact that This isn't like we're comparing a game that came out like, oh, Skyrim came out like a couple years ago. Oh, Skyrim's just a bit better, you know. We can't really compare. Oblivion came out in 2006. Skyrim came out in 2011. And the thing with Obsidian Entertainment is that they made Fallout New Vegas. In Fallout New Vegas, they have this attention to detail. You can go in to every single building. You go into caves. You go into buildings. Yeah, you can interact with NPCs. NPCs have schedules that they go about their daily life as well. Is that like, it's there. Like, yes, obviously, Fallout isn't necessarily Obsidian's game, obviously. It was, well, it wasn't even originally Bethesda's, because it was like another company that started Fallout. But, yeah, you know, Bethesda acquired Fallout, made Fallout 3, and then Bethesda just, you know, published Fallout New Vegas. But Obsidian still had to make that game. You think that they'd take that knowledge. I know it was like all years ago, but you think that when you're developing a game, especially in RPG, you would look at previous games that your company has made, take inspiration from that, look at the attention to detail in past games and put it into modern day games, into your game today. And stuff like that really irks me. Stuff like that really pisses me off, because it just shows that there isn't passion in video game companies anymore. There isn't. Instead, Matt Hansen's too worried about, oh, I just want to, you know, piss off Elon Musk and add woke stuff into my game. I'm sorry, but that ain't gonna fucking pay the bills. That ain't gonna help your game get above 15,000 player base. No. And you know what? Maybe that was one of the reasons. Maybe Matt Hansen is one of the reasons why this game didn't sell well. But you know what? To me, it's stuff like that. Because when passion isn't put into video games, like I just showed you, when it has come to those small, minute details in Avowed, then it's going to show in sales. Players are going to notice that. Players are going to go, why would I want to play this bland RPG that just got released when I can play fucking Skyrim that's so much more detailed than this game and is cheaper? It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. And honestly, it pisses me off. It does. It really pisses me off that we have people like this in the gaming industry that are trying to, you know, talk such a big talk, but then when the game comes out, it turns out to be fucking shit and there's no passion in it whatsoever. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys think about all this down below. Have you played Avowed? Have you seen Avowed? What's your thoughts on it? Are you as irked as I am when it comes to stuff like this? The attention to detail when it comes to game mechanics itself and also gameplay. But that's going to be it from me. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.